Well, I will begin, and the others will take the conference. Uh, yeah, the notes just notes that pick her up everywhere, so he couldn't help. And unfortunately, my slides are in French, but there is just lot of photo and not lot of text. So I will begin to introduce myself. I'm Winael. I'm Ubuntu official member since 2 or 3 years. This is all the contact if you wanna to contact me. And today I'm not here to speak about computer things or IT things. I will talk a little about me. This is about photos. This is what happens when I ask my parents to scan me photograph. But the little child is me. It's the photo was taken in front of my grandma's house in the town where my two parents grew up. It's a little city called Verdun. I don't know if you know Verdun. It's a little city in the East France, about 20,000 livers. And Verdun is very beautiful, as you can see, with a lot of lameurs, and it's very, very beautiful. But Verdun didn't look like this 100 years ago. 100 years ago, sometime 1970, Verdun area looked like this. It was the Battle of Verdun during the First World War. So what's these some few pictures with people fighting Germany against French, and there is a lot of people killed during this war. And this war is very absurd because there is all the people killed was killed because nation was in concurrence for industry, you know. And there is a big instrumentalization of the concept of nationalism consentment. All people, for example, in French, learn that the enemy was everyone's, and you have to fight against these enemies to defend your country. And so little children learned that when they was very, very young, and so they was very happy to fight in this war, to go to this war, to fight for this war, to be killed when they go to this war. We have in our national hymn all lot of lot of points that show that every enemy will go to the house and kill the mother, kill the children, and but when you realize when they go to the front, and finally realize that German people are just like them, they are poor people poor people who go to the war for the industry and be killed, and there is no difference between a German or a French or every nation. So they realize, and sometimes they don't want to fight. And the big general who don't go to war kill them if they not go to the battle. So it was very absurd, and 18 million people was killed during this war. It's totally absurd to think that because the nation and not the um, to to explain what happens, we have to realize that after the revolution in Europe, in France, for example, at the end of the 18th centuries, or in England and before, we entered into the first revolution industry, and with that, we have a lot of people, the class bourgeois who have the industry, and every country decide to be the biggest, the more influenced country in the Europe and the world. And we have the England, who have the empire with strong military support. French, who have the colonial empire, and Germany have a particular history because during the 19th century, with the first with Napoleon who conquered the country, and after all the pressure from the Austrian and Prussian who want to have the lead on Germany, they didn't take part about the industrial revolution. So at the end of the 19th century, with Guillaume II, they want to be like the other country in Europe and earn for influence. So there is strong how can I tell that? Strong social pressure inside the different countries in Europe, and so they realize that they need to translate the anger of the people to an hypothetical enemy, not the leader of the industry. So it was the First World War. Is first crisis of capitalism, and at the end of the war, Germany realized that it was Germany realized that we have to stop to fight because there is million people killed, and so people say, okay, it was absurd, it was the last one, we fight against each other like that. And so they decided to build Europe, and this is no Europe look like the world of tomorrow, or not. Unfortunately, when Germany decided to stop the war, the other country, England and France, for example, don't want Germany be a part of the. They want to eliminate this concurrence, so they decided to say that Germany it was the responsible of the First World War I, and they have to pay for that. And so Germany go into a big economic crisis with a lot of people who didn't have work, a lot of poverty, and so there are people in Germany who decided that totally arbitrary that people like that, it's from La Vérité Sigement about the Jewish community, have to become like that. Or like that. You have to understand that during the 19th century, Jewish was show up because they didn't enter into what we called the national story. All nation are community, and inside the community you have mythology or the community was built. And in Europe, we have a strong history with Christianism, and unfortunately, Jewish has not the same ritual. They don't believe in God in the same way, and so because of the crisis, they say that these particular people, because they don't have the same history, the same ritual, and they couldn't enter into the national telling, uh, are the traitor who put the pays in the crisis. It was not in Germany because in France we have exactly the same situation with the Jewish few in the end of the 19th century, England too. So Germany was just the more the people in the country in crisis, so they decided to eliminate Jewish, and the other things they decided to industrialize this killing. Uh, they put the Jewish, put on the train, go to the camp. They filter who can work and who couldn't work, and killed those who couldn't work. It was a very automation process. It was the and it was absurd because a Jewish or Christian or just people. So decided arbitrarily to kill people because of the way of the belief in God. It's very strong idea. Fortunately, during the World War II, two imperialist countries like Russia and US decided to fight against each other, and the World War II was finished. And finally, we understand that in Europe, we got wrong from the beginning. So we decided to build Europe, and with the economic Europe. So first Germany and France, and with other country. And many years ago, many years later, a lot of people in Europe was invited uh, to take the first Ubuntu phone. The event was placed in London, and all the people invited by Canonical came from Europe. And thank you. When I was at the event, I realized something. I didn't know the people I met. I didn't know them before, and there is strong friendship was born at this time. For example, with Simos and Marco, and I have a lot of. I couldn't say I'm French. I will say when people ask me when I come from, I say I'm from France, but I couldn't say I'm French. And I meet all these people, and it was very interesting to be in touch with people from other country and discover all the difference with me from the culture, and I learned a lot of things. But people can say, okay, you were invited, it was a special event, so that's why you are so enthusiastic about this event. And the year after, I went with my own money to the first UbuCon in Germany, and I met again some very good friends, and again it was very difficult to me to say I'm French. I always say I'm from France. So when I come back, uh, I have this question: Am I French? So I tried to answer that question, and so I was born in France. I'm a white man. I'm an atheist, so normally I check all the box. But my origin is from French, from my father. But from my mother, I have origin in Belgium, in Spain, and with the Tsigan, the people who travel. My mother is a Catholic, but she didn't practice. And my mother-in-law is Shia, and she's wearing hijab, and she went to La Mecque to do the pèlerinage. My wife is a Lebanese one, but who was born and lived for 20 years in Dakar, Senegal. And my son's godfather is a Senegalese Soninke. It's a tribe from Senegal. And so, what I am the fruit of all this heritage from all this origin. So, the other question is, what is to be French? Is it to be about the language? As you can see, we speak French in all this country. So, to be French is not about the language. Is it about the culture? We made a movie about the cultural difference between the north of the south of the France, because they are not the same culture. We can't. People in part of the France say this viennoiserie is a chocolatine. Others say this is a pain chocolat. And there is a strong identity about the different region. And if you go to a concert, you always see this, for example, this flag from Brighton. So there is a strong identity about the area where people live. So we don't have a common culture. We have a lot of culture. So maybe I say gastronomy because French gastronomy is very, very known. But if you look precisely, you see we have 1,200 variety of cheese, a lot of poté. The wine is you can do the wine with multiple ways to do wine. So gastronomy is not common in France. So I asked myself, as I feel French. So I look up Japanese anime. I read US comics. I love Lebanese dabke. This is a traditional dance from and music from Lebanon. I love Belgium comics, TV show from the BBC, so very British one. I love the Arabo-Muslim culture from the Maghreb and Lebanon, Syria, and all these cultures that's very, very rich, and all they bring to us about science and a lot of things. I love the art of Senegal with, for example, they do some very, very beautiful pictures with sand. That's very, very beautiful. I love it. And I love the fantastic movies Spanish from the uh, 20th, 21st century, from Jome Balaguerro, Amenabar. So all these things is my itinerary was built about this cultural reference from all over the world. So I couldn't say I'm French, sorry. But I realized that I was connected to all over the people around the world with my culture, with my origin. And finally, I understand what I am. I am a man who have the Ubuntu. The Ubuntu is the etymology of the word Ubuntu come from, as you know, come from the Zulu, who could be translated as humanism over each others. But there is an origin in Swahili, Somalia, etc., and means build, build and invent together something. So it was very important. So the sentences in Bantu means I am because the relationship I have with others. And the Ubuntu community is 1,000 people all over the world who together build the most accessible IT platform of the world. Ubuntu is used on the self-driving car, Netflix, image avatar, used by Bloomberg, Wikipedia, Dropbox, Walmart, all the social network like Reddit, Instagram, Pinterest. So in the project began in 2K4. So in 13 years, we built together something that have a strong impact all over the world for all the people. We were able to do it because we have just the desire to do something together. We didn't have the same culture, but we have this common point, and so we were able to make a very great things. And so yeah, there's other numbers of the impact of Ubuntu. And for me, Ubuntu community was also a lot of very good friendship with people all over the world. And I realize that, but as I see with the actuality and in the news, that we are in the very disturbed period. There is a lot of nationalists who take the power all around the world. For example, in Great Britain, you have Theresa May, who decided Brexit, and Britain have to be strong because they are British. You have Marine Le Pen in France, who have this who shares this idea of the France are the better people over the world, and Trump, make America great again. We have more and more inequality all around the world. You have people who have a lot of money, and they want to share it, and more poverty, and we are going into a big capitalist crisis. And they designate a new bouc émissaire. Before it was the Jewish, now it was the Muslim. And finally, just Muslim is about to hide all the uh, inequality you see on the comics. They put all the bad things like we have a lot of more people homeless, no more justice, tax for the poor and no tax for the rich. And they hide all of this and say, no, no, all the problem come from the Islam. So we went again like the 100 years ago. We have strong nationalism, a book emissary, and economic crisis. And I have the feeling that we could do the same mistakes that we made before. People, we will again fight against each other again. And but before being French or being German, or we are all humans being. When you see a Syrian who leaves his country because it was war, it was not a Syrian. It was just a poor people who have no home, who just want to don't live in a country where there is a war. And unfortunately, in Europe, we say just they are migrants. They want to take our jobs. They want to they're just poor people. And as a Ubuntu evangelist, I think that my duty is not to promote an IT system on an IT platform. It's I have the duty to promote the fact that we could all live together. We just humans, and we could live together. So. So at local area, for example, is to say that my neighbor is maybe a Muslim, but we have a common that we live in the same city. So to not have some prejudice and to try to find that common point, like we do with Ubuntu. Our common point is IT. Is to find the common point, and finally to feed each other without difference. What the benefits to do that? It's to render our city more sure, because people are afraid of each other for now, and there is strong anger for the minority, and this anger, for example, could be translated again, could be translated into terrorist strikes. If you look, for example, in France, a lot of terrorist strikes from Islamic State was made by French, by people who grew up in France, from parents who tried to integrate into France and was not integrated because they were Arabic look-like, and so the children was very angry into own country because French people don't want to integrate them, because they say, oh, no, they're just Muslims, they are evil, they are the cause of our crisis. And the French didn't make the effort to try to understand these people and to integrate them, and now we pay with blood. We have to promote the live together, the Ubuntu inside our company, to try to to have an environment where all people could do something together and with a management who follow the difference, social difference, cultural difference, and cognitive difference, because there are people who have not the same cognitive rate to do the thing. So we have to promote. If you are a manager, for example, you have to understand that people have some desires, some troubles, maybe some family troubles that they could put away when they are at work. It's not possible. So as manager, we have to promote the fact that we have to do things together and in the better way. At the national level, we have to fight to try to have a more equilibrated society, because if you understand that all your actions have some impact on each other's, when you go to something more equilibrated, like the game theory of Nash, you see that all people could win, and there is no a loser and a winner. You have always for the society to find a win-win strategy. And at the world level, we have to fight to make some great projects that could help people to do great things. And for example, you are part of the Ubuntu community, but there is a lot of project, ONG or something like that, who help to promote a better world to live for us and for our children, and for a better place to live for every humans in Earth. So normally when we talk about Ubuntu as a philosophy, it's normally to have Ubuntu. It's a behavior, but I think we need to be more. We need to be Ubuntu to promote this philosophy in every act of our lives, in every aspect of our lives. So maybe you have questions. Yeah.
How many languages do you speak?
Maybe one. English. I pour English, so 1.5. But I try to. You don't have to be able to speak the same languages to understand people. Sometimes I saw my mother. She just speak French, and she went in Lebanon with me when I married my wife, and I was very surprised the morning because she was speaking to my wife aunt, who only speak Arabic, and she was able to have a discussion, and they tried to understand each other with sign or something like that. And during 1 hour, they speak not the same languages, but they understand each other's. So you just have to try to understand the other people, and okay, to speak more languages is more easy, but you don't have you don't have to speak the languages to understand people. Other question? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.